Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Higgs, coming at you here. It's Monday, November the 25th. As always, Chirimbes, Doug Upstone joining me. We're going to talk some college basketball because we're starting to get some decent little matchups with these November tournaments, which we like. But talk about a couple things before that, But let's just say hello to the men this morning. Chip Chirimbes with his 94 Super Bowl hat on. Welcome. How was your weekend, Mr. NBA?
Well, NBA was absolutely fabulous for me. Right now on a 17-3 run, believe it or not, the last 20 selections, and still a perfect 7-0 with my megabook plays in the NBA for the season. And I'm just loving it each and every day. Posting one game a day for the most part, and it seems to be working out the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, literally 17-3 on NBA. I am 4-4 in the NBA. I don't want any. I can't. No, thank you. And you're crushing it. Good job. That is why we tell you. Listen, we do free picks here, but premium stuff at gamblersWORLD.net. The man is running the NBA. He's like Tim Donahue. The fix is in. Doug, how about you? How you doing?
I'm doing extremely well, Sean. And fortunately, it's across the board that's going well. So let's see here. Go some stuff. Yesterday, NFL 3-1, 7-2 the last 2 weeks. Saturday, college football. Plus one of the game, but 6-0 college sport. 6-0 Saturday, 7-0 college football for the week. Okay, so that was good. Now, I'll be the first to admit, hey, Doug, other people say, Doug, you haven't had so many good weeks before that. You're right. Okay, I haven't. Okay, but this week I did. And I changed some things up, to tell you the truth. So things are going very well there. College basketball, 13-7, 65%. NHL, 23-10 on that one. Last 3 days, 12-2. Let's see here. What else is there? Last 3 weeks, 50-26. 65.7%. And the last week at Gamblers World, if you go to this one side, last week, number one, 18-9. So it's been a really strong run here. And not NBA, Chip's kicking my ass, but that's okay. 61.5%, I'll take it. Okay, so we're good to go.
Listen, folks, you come to the Winner Circle YouTube channel, you hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell. You want to know we do our free picks today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all through the week. Live show, Monday Night Live at 7 o'clock tonight. Football Fridays. We got you covered live. A lot of free stuff. But the premiums, you hear the runs. You see how we're doing? Head over to gamblersWORLD.net. Get all Chip's plays. Get all Doug's plays. Get my plays. I'm off a good NFL Sunday. I think I'm like 9-2, 9-3, which my NFL for the year, I am 57-58. So a little bit of a losing year there. What am I going to say? College hoops, not bad. Number 2, 74-59 in college basketball. And I'm number 2 to a guy who has 20 games posted for the year. So I got a lot of games rolling. College football, pretty good season as well. 54-67, not a bad record there. A game behind wins with Brian Biller, but he's on top money-wise. Not too bad, though. College, NFL, NBA, wherever you're looking to get down on, head to gamblersworld.net. 3-7. 30-day packages are guaranteed, right? Show you a profit or you get the credit back and come in, get the same guy, make somebody else. There's a leaderboard. Win, lose, always the truth. We have the $99 College Hoops weekly special. And then there's the daily package up. I believe it's $69.99 to get one day pass. Let's be honest. On a day like this where there's 10 a.m., 11 a.m. college basketball games, you're going to get more than 2 games between NBA, college, hockey, whatever the case is going on. If you just want a taste of everybody's or that capper's what he likes, a day pass, you're probably going to save a little money. So we try to save you a little money. It's up to you. I don't know what to tell you. The free picks are free picks. The premium stuff, you see the runs. They're not. We don't lie. We don't own the page. We can't go in there and make up wins and losses. It's all right there for you. But gamblersworld.net for all the primos. Now, before we get to college basketball, college football, tomorrow they'll have their little party. Okay, let's all get together and talk about the SEC and how they should be all the teams in the playoffs. Indiana gets beat pretty soundly. I still think they should be in the playoffs. I know they're going to try to run these guys out of the playoffs and make it seem like, well, Alabama has 3 losses, but who'd they lose to in the SEC? Well, Indiana's going to take a loss to Ohio State, who's number 3 in the country, whose only loss was to the number 1 team in the country. If this was some SEC team, they'd be tooting their horn of how, well, you lose to a good team, they got to be in there. It's not my fault or your fault or anybody's fault. The team plays how the schedule breaks, right? We talk about NFL teams. The Niners are always playing. Green Bay or Buffalo and Kansas City play every year. Baltimore, like you're a top team, you play the top of the schedule. College football, it kind of rotates. I don't blame Indiana. Then all of a sudden strength of schedules are going to come into play and who you beat because it's going to affect an SEC team and maybe Tennessee doesn't get in, or what if A&M beats Texas this weekend? I mean, are they going to knock Texas out? Should Texas be knocked out? What are your guys' thoughts on the playoffs? I told you I'm a 6 playoff guy. That is it. I don't need 4 more teams that have 3 and 4 losses to get in there, and they're all middle. All right, is Alabama a middle kind of team? I still don't need a 3-loss team in a championship game.
I know what you're saying, Sean. I remember when they expanded the NFL playoffs. I think it was the Ravens got in with an 8-8 record and then blew their way through the playoffs. They were even favored against the Giants in Tampa in the Super Bowl, and the Giants had just beaten Minnesota. I think it was 41-0 going into the game, and they had the best record in football, and they were an underdog. Ravens won that one easily. So there's always a chance of a team with 3 losses that gets hot at the end and wins 3 games. I think 8 would have been fine with me. When you're going to get teams that are not going to get a bye, and it's because other that are better than other conference teams, for example, maybe Boise State may get a bye because of the conference they won, where you may have a second-place SEC team or even Big 12. That's a better club, better record, but they're not going to get a bye. So I still think there's some holes in the system.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways, for this to go, and everything I've read recently, they're going to go to 14 teams in 2 years, so that's on the horizon. But in terms of the SEC, I don't see what the SEC has to complain about. I mean, Alabama lost at Vanderbilt and at Oklahoma. Okay, those are not good teams. Okay, they're just not. Indiana, yeah, the final score got rung up, but a couple of the events that occurred in that game were kind of random in terms of what happens that led to Ohio State scores. So, I mean, and that's just the game. So you take it as it comes. But, I mean, when a team's undefeated, Ole Miss, I mean, they lost to Kentucky at home. They just lost again this weekend. They came to a mediocre Florida team who was 3 weeks ago was ready to fire the coach, at least allegedly, for that. So no, I have no mercy for any of the SEC teams. It's your choice, or in this case, there are teams that have chosen to go there. Okay, they don't have to go there. They could play in easier leagues, and so they're going to go to a different league. And they're going to suffer some more losses. They're not going to be as dominant as what they once were. So that's just the way it goes. And as far, Alabama, what was it? The one Alabama was, what is it? They were favored by 8.5 points or more, and they've lost 2 games this season. And in the previous 15 years, that had happened 3 times. Okay, so. So there you go. So Boise State, whether it's Boise State or Tulane, okay, it doesn't make any difference to me. I know I'm a fan, but I think I can look at this objectively. Everybody's a little bit asleep on Notre Dame. They're just taking out everybody.
I'll say one thing, Doug. The bookmakers sure had the line right on the Ohio State game. I mean, everybody was going out of their mind when it got up to 13.
Right, yeah.
But the bookies knew more than we did, that's for sure.
And and the same thing with Notre Dame and Army. That opened up at 17 and it went to 14 quickly, stayed there, and no contest.
Right.
So, but I mean, Notre Dame's set up to be the number five seed. And they're clearly
they might be number 1 if they didn't, trip over themselves against Northern Illinois.
Right. I mean, that Northern Illinois game was, they were outplayed. That was a disaster.
Yeah.
Disaster.
We'll start with Notre Dame. you won on the road at A&M. They were a fade. They went to a little dog based on their injury on the offensive line. Who have they beat this year? I mean, Army and Navy, who were undefeated. I'm all for them, and I'd love to one of them to get in the playoffs. That bubble has burst because when they play a pretty good team, this is what happens. Notre Dame has beat absolutely 0 teams this year. I mean, talk about
if you look at it in retrospect, sure. But at the time, they've beaten Louisville when Louisville was ranked. They beat Texas A&M when Texas A&M was ranked.
Yes, the A&M's a nice win on the road in A&M, but they were favored in that game.
Right.
I know it went off as a dog. They were favored. They should have won that game. Louisville's a nice win. You won, and you won by a touchdown.
Right.
What else has we got here as a marquee win?
Well, who has Ohio State played other than Oregon?
Listen, I understand. I mean, I get the point of those, but I've seen Notre Dame get into playoffs and just get whooped by Clemson. They lose by 20.
I think Notre Dame's very good.
Yeah,
I think they lose by 20 against one of the top teams, or maybe
I'll take that bet right now. If you got the cash,
I would say there's a little more parity towards the way these guys get played. I don't think Notre Dame's going to. You think they're champions? I don't think they're a team. I mean,
I guess time will tell.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they have one of the best defenses in the country. Period. I mean, they're fast at every element on defense. And again, my job is not to be a homer here. I'm on a show like this, and anything else I do is to just basically say it as I see it. I mean, this is a legitimate top defense. Their offensive running game is exceptional. Their offensive line, which was supposed to be the weakness of their team, has for some reason somehow come together. And if Leonard throws the ball halfway decent, okay, in any game, they're gonna move the ball in the air enough. Now the newest thing that's come up, all of a sudden they can't get anybody to kick a field goal. So if you're looking for a loss, to me, that's how they're going to get beat. Is not going to be able to, in a close game, make a big kick and to win a game. But if they get a 5 seed, that means they play a 12. Okay, so that's not bad for them.
Well, from what I've seen out there, I wouldn't be surprised if this Irish team makes it to the final game. I'm serious. I'm very impressed with what I saw. I know Army isn't a big national power, but this team's coming along. They've gotten each and every game. I like Notre Dame. And usually, especially this year, because there isn't a team that's so dominant out there. There's no Georgias as there was last year, or Alabamas as there have been in previous seasons. And this just might be their opportunity to actually, well, it used to be you want to get to the Final Four. Now, I think they can get there all the way.
So they got USC up next on the road, 7-point favorite over a USC team. How about comeuppance for USC? Let's break up the Pac-12 because we're too cool, and then you go and be 4-4 in the Big Ten, losing at Maryland, Minnesota. I mean, Lincoln Riley's got to be like, what the heck? I left the Big 12 because I wanted to play in nice weather, and now I'm in the Big 10 in November playing outside. Like, what a joke! Terrible.
Football.
That's just they did a poor job. He's not done a very good job as a coach. And
was he like behind pushing for that, or who was like what? Who thought this was a good idea for them to join the Big Ten?
Well, no, it wasn't his decision to go to the Big Ten. I mean, that was USC's. That was their deal, and that just had to do with the TV money from the Pac-12 network. That's what drove that decision, and they could go to the Big Ten, and I mean, literally. It's hard to say set for life, but put it this way, they have a guaranteed income that they could never, ever have in the Pac-12. And I'm not saying I agree with how that goes, but that's just the facts of life. That's how it is. And it's the same thing with the SEC. And, the one thing that, the SEC, the Big Ten and the SEC are the ones pushing for this 14-team playoff. And the reason that they're doing it, because they could, I'll just say this, they could give a crap about college football. Okay.
Yeah.
Those two conferences, they don't care anything about anybody. They care about themselves. That's the world we live in today. And so with that being the case, I mean, I think it's if I had a choice on this, you have all these conference tournaments, and I know people would our conferences, they disagree with me. I would love if they went to a 14 or 16 and every conference championship got in. Okay. Every team. So that means Sun Belt. That means Conference USA. Are they going to get their butts kicked when they play that game? Of course they are. Okay. But you know what? They deserve something as opposed to the morsels that they get from these.
They don't even get like full-size chocolate chips. They get the minis. They don't even get the full-size chocolate chicken. They get the little mini bites. It's ridiculous. The fact that Alabama, they're in 6th place in the SEC and they're going to leapfrog 4 other teams to get into the playoffs. Are you out of your freaking minds, people? They're in 6th place.
Hey, they might not even beat Auburn this week.
This is what the playoffs were meant for. It was for Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Texas, maybe A&M or some other 5th school out of the SEC, and then Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, and USC. Well, in this case, maybe Iowa or some other squad out of those 10 teams, and then an ACC and somebody out of the Big 12. That's what it was supposed to be. It was all about these other conferences. And the fact is that USC, enjoy your 8-win seasons from now on. USC, you'll be 8-5. Maybe they might hit 10 wins one year and be in the Rose Bowl against Oregon State or some nonsense or some garbage.
They get an NFL quarterback again. They might on that. But hey, let's just to change it real quick here. This is on a local bet. Arizona State. I mean, hey, they deserve some credit. I mean, 9-2. Yeah, 9-2. They're poised to go to the Big 12 championship. I mean, they've taken on all comers, and everybody's been loving Colorado. Everybody's been loving BYU, and kind of quietly. And I will tell you that I'm no fan of the team or anything like that. But this Dillingham, he's a pretty good coach. I mean, he's kind of a little bit of a tough guy, very enthusiastic, and that program was in tatters when he got there from Herm Edwards, and he has done a really good job. And has brought in his types of guys, and I'm really impressed with what they've done and how they've gone about it. And they just keep winning.
They're going to hit you on defense, Doug. I'll tell you that much. And they got a great running back as well. I've been paying attention to the Sun Devils this year. Very surprising. They won 3 games last year, and going to Kansas State and winning 2 weeks ago. I mean, that really was impressive. That no question about that. Yeah, that was.
They control their own destiny, right? They beat Arizona, they're pretty much in, or do they need? Right? They win and they're in, or is it BYU?
They got to win to get in. Yes.
Right. Yep. Because I know Colorado's out. They blew their.
Well, they're not out, but Iowa State has the inside track if they win. So it's set up.
Iowa State will leapfrog everybody.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Right now, yes, correct. That's what I saw over the weekend. Is that because there's it's either head-to-head conference competition and who you played within the conference. So what the criteria there? So right now they're in the 2nd position.
So that's crazy because Iowa State didn't play BYU or Arizona State, and Arizona State BYU.
Yeah, well, that's just the way it's going to be when you got 16-team leagues now or 14-team leagues. There's no way you can play everybody, and plus the fact of when you also most teams have at least 2 designated games that they have to play, every year within that conference. So rivalry type games. So this is just the new reality. So just and wait till we get 20. We'll have 3 20-team leagues, and there'll be a super conference of just 3 of those. Whether it's called the Big 12 or the ACC, I don't know what it'll be called, but that's what's going to happen. And when that happens, then there'll be 60 teams in one division and everybody else in the other division.
And no more championship games, because why bother playing and add another loss to your team?
What I wonder about who they would play. I mean, I'm sure it's to be determined. But if they do that, they still want to pump up some wins. So, are they going to be willing to fork the money over?
If you're an undefeated Oregon team in the Big Ten championship game and you're 13-0, or more, say they expand the season, so they're 13-0 going in championship game. They're the overall number 1 seed no matter what happens. I can say, you know what? Who cares about winning this? We don't care about this because we got to be ready. We're going to rest the guy and get ready for the actual playoffs.
Oh yeah, that's coming in the not too distant future. I agree with you. Oh, and one before we go to college basketball, one last thing. Congratulations to Oregon State for winning the Pac-12 championship. by knocking off Washington State. So they're the Pac-12 champions.
The big Rose Bowl game coming up versus maybe USC. You never know. Maybe USC makes the Rose Bowl because all the teams ahead of USC are going into the playoffs. Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State,
Rose Bowl is one of the sites. So yeah, that would be good.
Oh, is it a site? Yeah.
Or Ohio State and Michigan. Or what? Yeah, about Michigan and USC. What about that? So for the Rose Bowl.
All right, enough of college football. 20 minutes of college football. We're going to spend 5 minutes on college basketball. I wanted to talk about the Giants cutting Danny Dimes, but maybe we'll talk about that one tomorrow. But it's the Giants, so who cares? They're going to ruin your Thanksgiving against Dallas with a terrible 4:30 game. Let's do some Maui Invitational, warm things up. It's Thanksgiving. It's cold in part of the country, but Maui, boy, I'm going to go here. I'm going to start off with you, Doug, because you got the best matchup on the board here tonight. And people think like Auburn, Iowa State. What are you talking about? You got a couple top 5 teams here and good little programs. What do we have? The 4 and 5 teams going on to Auburn, a 4.5 point favorite.
4. What I saw, the last I saw. Yep.
Yeah. So what do you take? Again, it's early. It's a ranking, but let's be honest. These two programs are usually pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. That seems to be the thing these days. And this one, Iowa State, this is the one that I asked, and this is why these tournaments, I mentioned this last week, why they're fun to pay attention to. And if you have an opportunity to watch, because in this case, like these two teams, you know something about Auburn because they beat Houston, but Iowa State has played Mississippi Valley State, Kansas City, and that's not the Chiefs, by the way, that's Kansas City, okay, University. And they played IU Indianapolis. Okay, so those are the 3 teams they played. They were favored anywhere from 28 to 44 points. So you talk about some tin cans. There you go. Kick those babies right down the road on that one. But Cyclones, we know that, like Sean just said, good program. Top 25. They play defense. They prefer to get the ball inside. Auburn, as I mentioned, they played at least some more recognizable teams. People that are basketball fans know of Vermont, they know of Kent State, and they beat Houston by 5 as a 5.5 point underdog. I'm looking at heavy. I have not seen Iowa State play, so I'm going just based off of what in the past. Auburn's going to be more athletic. Auburn is also the better 3-point shooting team in this one. And so I think that's their advantage in this game. And the other thing so I'm going to go with a first half line here, which is only 2. So I got Auburn on the first half line. And the thing I found that I liked, if they have won 2 straight games by 15 or more points, in the next game in the first half, they are 11-2 on that first half line. We just need a bucket, okay? Or actually, we need a 3-point play to make it a winner. There you go. Give me Auburn -2, first half line.
Auburn first half -2. Doug Upstone free pick here on Monday the 25th. Free pick from Doug here. Chip, what do you think about this game?
I love the matchup. Number 4 in the country, Auburn against the Cyclones, Iowa State. Iowa State was really good to me last year, and Doug, they made it to the finals, Sweet 16 or whatever it is, with TJ coaching there. Great coaching matchup. Bruce Pearl, he's had his issues, of course, but Auburn's already beaten Houston, number 4 in the country, and they moved into that spot right now. But these 2 teams playing head-to-head, the coaching matchup, I can see it coming down to the wire. I would take whatever points it was. I don't know if this would be an actual selection. Like we said, most of these teams have played nothing but home games, and now they're taken to the road for the first time, and it's really not even an actual true road game because they're playing at a neutral site. But you're not familiar surroundings. But I'm going to take the points here. If I was to play, I'd have the Cyclones, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would probably lean with it. I mean, again, 4.5. Auburn's played a marquee team already, kind of know what to expect out of another top team. Where Iowa State, you mentioned, Doug, the Cyclones, a lot of easy wins early, like most teams do. You get a bunch of, hey, here's 150,000, come on in, and we'll beat you 88 to 52. But official play, Auburn first half -2. For Doug Upstone, be sure to head to gamblersworld.net for Doug's premium stuff, and the man is red hot as well. A lot of hotness in here. We're feeling it, and it might be November, but we're warming up. And speaking of hot, Chip Chirimbes, 17-3 NBA run will carry over to courts tonight. Dayton and North Carolina. Normally, you talk in North Carolina, they'd be like top bill, like, hey, it's the Tar Heels, blue blood. No. They get second fiddle tonight with Auburn and Iowa State. but they are an 8-point favorite. Again, Maui Invitational. Hawaii's doing it right. Dayton Flyers 5-0, but a lot of cream puffs on their schedule. So this is definitely a step-up game. We talked about Auburn and Houston. North Carolina played at Kansas. In Kansas, that's no fun place to play. So would you lay the 8 here or the total, or would you take it? I don't know. Go for it, Chip.
Well, you're talking about Dayton, North Carolina. You're talking about Dayton has one of the best defenses in the country, only allowing 60 points a game, and North Carolina, one of prolific offenses with over 94 points a game. Carolina's 3-1. All 4 of their games have gone over. Defensively, they're giving up 73 points. But didn't Donnie May go to Dayton, Doug? Do you remember Donnie May, left-handed shooter?
I do. Right.
Since those Donnie May days, the Flyers have always been on my radar, so I'm going to take Dayton plus the points here against North Carolina.
Didn't they win the NIT his senior year?
Yeah, that's where I saw him in New York.
Okay, yeah. There you go.
The NIT. Can we bring back the NIT when it was good and they had
the
screwed
NIT
up?
Used to be something. The NIT.
That was the premier.
Oh, yeah.
That was the premier
thing
event.
up until the 80s.
There were teams that turned down the NCAA to play in the NIT to go to New York.
Yes. And then they switched up the whole process for that, too. They want to ruin my life.
And who's the last team to win both the NCAA and the NIT in the same year?
Ooh, don't know.
CCNY, City College of New York.
There we go.
Was that like 1947?
1951.
51.
By the way, two of their players were actually the next year banned from basketball for fixing games.
Wow, makes sense. 2 teams, a couple guys from New York fixing games. Who would have saw that one coming?
Yeah, it's a mystery to me.
Dayton Flyers +8. Yeah, 5-0. You mentioned their defense. I guess it's easy to do when they're beating us. They beat a team called the Capital Comets. Everybody, the Capital Comets. I don't even know. Go Google that one for you. Capital Comets. Oh, as normal on the show, I'm going to go somewhere off the grid here with a pick. Fort Myers tip-off. It's Javier or Xavier versus South Carolina. So Xavier 6 and a 147. I'm looking at the matchups in this game, and again, it's November. You get a lot of good little tournaments. So we're in something called the Beach Division. Xavier, South Carolina, teams you've heard of. Michigan, Virginia Tech. Wow, you look at that, like this is going to be a nice little tournament. You got 4 kind of power kind of schools in here. Yeah, the Palm Division, consisting of Jacksonville from the ASUN, Mercer from the SoCon, Miami, Ohio out of the MAC, and Siena out of the AA MAC. That's one side of the bracket. Normally, I don't know what's going on in Florida. You kind of split it up so you maybe have a matchup of top teams. No, you're going to have the top teams versus like the bottom. Anyway, whatever that. Here we go. So Xavier, you got one starter back from last year's team. Not a good team last year. I'm going to lean towards the points here with South Carolina. I don't care. Xavier's 5-0. South Carolina's 3-2. Nothing really impressive. Nothing sexy about their numbers. But I like about them, last year's squad, picked for last, somehow come in and finish second, right? Out of the blue. It was like, where's the South Carolina team come? A couple guys have moved on, but I still got a couple guards. I still got some upperclassmen type players on the team. I'm going to, this team is a squad that's, they're an underdog squad, right? You're picked to finish last in the SEC, and you come in and finish second. I don't care if some guys left. The coach, the mentality, everything there is saying, we're the chip on our shoulder team. We're going to be getting 6 points here. It's a neutral. That's fine. But I'm taking – these guys are – I like the feisty clubs. Am I wrong for thinking about a team that was picked for dead last, overachieves? They're all for being hey, – nobody respects us. Let's go out and fight. Let's go. Who's Xavier beating? Nobody. They got a whole new rotation. Everything's brand new. Give me South Carolina here. Doug.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that. There are some concerns, like you mentioned, 3-2 and 2-3 against the spread. They shoot in the low 60s on the free throw line. And the other thing that's concerned is they're only +1 in turnover margin, okay, in 5 games. And that's against pretty weak competition. So there's some red flags, and they're all justifiable. But you said, Xavier's only 2-3 against the spread. They've only played one good team, and they beat Wake Forest decidedly, but they beat them because they had a turnover margin of +6. Because in that game, they only shot a little over 40% and were out rebounded. So I'm just leaning on my power ratings, and my power ratings in this game have Xavier winning by either 2 or 3 points, So give me the 6 with the Gamecocks.
There we go. Chip, you're going to make it a trifecta here on November the 25th, or you got something else for us?
No. I'm going to be a pebble in your shoe, believe me. But how about them Auburn Tigers? Bringing our best bet record up once again. Megabuck played on Saturday, blowing a 21-0 lead and still defeating the Texas A&M Aggies. North Carolina is playing Xavier 5-0 at home, 2-3 against the number, averaging over 20-point margin in games, giving up only 64 points a game. Mid-majors, they didn't even play them. The level of competition was really questionable. But I think Xavier's the play here, and we'll take the X out. South Carolina's scoring 78 points a game. Xavier's 84. They got an edge on them on both offense and defense. The schedule may have something to do with that, but also maybe the talent is on the court. I'd lay it, guys.
All right. He's got to be the anti-guy, but that's all right, folks, because a lot of people come in the comment section and be like, hey, you all agree. That's no fun. All right.
Yeah, I'll add to the party then, because Chip had his North Carolina Dayton pick. I like it, actually, North Carolina in that game. So let's just make it all happen. Everything's conflicting. Yeah. So
hey, Doug, I'll see you outside after this is over.
That's perfect. I'm like that. I'll see if I got your phone. I'll take a look for it.
We try to bring a different view. We have all different attack things from different angles. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. Listen, that's makes it for an interesting show when we go back and forth. Like, wait a second, what are you talking about here? But show picks. Let's talk about it for a second. Dayton Flyers +8 for Chip. We're going Auburn first half -2 for Doug. I'm going South Carolina plus a 6-piece. These are the free picks here on the Winner Circle YouTube channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, notification bells on so you know when we roll out all of our free pick videos. Head to gamblersworld.net for all the premium stuff, where you heard Chip just cashed a nice Auburn play. I was with Auburn too, never in doubt as a little home dog there. Easy winner. Doug Upstone on an 18-9 run. Not too shabby himself. Get his premium plays at gamblersworld.net. And I'm doing pretty good too as well. All right. So Gamblers World for premium stuff. Support the show, the channel, the cappers you like. It's all right there for you. And another comment came in the other day like, hey, these guys don't even know Purdy's playing. Folks, we do the video a little bit ahead of time. They're not game day videos. So some things might change between the time we post a video and actual tip-off. It's not live game day. This isn't a ESPN. We don't got the crew on site for the Home Depot Lowe's thing going on, field goal kickers. All right. So sometimes look at the published time. Look at the published time. All right. For Doug, Chip, and myself, we'll be back tomorrow with Chip and Matt Fargo doing some college footies. Doug will be back on Wednesday doing some NFL with us. Be sure to look forward to that. If you're only coming in for the Monday basketball, well, happy Thanksgiving early to you. Hopefully you'll be back tomorrow, though. Gentlemen, good luck at your plays. I'll see you tomorrow and later this week. Good luck, guys.